Guys, what is going on? It is a gorgeous day. Let's go for a ride. So in this video, what I want to do is I want to talk about some of the things that I had mentioned in a previous video, which is, of course, the obligatory things that I don't like about my whatever. Anyway, I put one of those together for the GSXR 750, and admittedly, it was a pretty tough video to put together because there's a lot to like about this bike. But as it is bone stock, with only about 225 miles, there is a little bit of room for improvement. Let's get this bike on the road and chat about that in all of its bone stock goodness. You know, it's kind of funny. I had put a video together decibel testing this bike and found out that the intake howl is actually louder than the exhaust. Found that to be kind of fun. But jokes aside, this bike really does need an exhaust, and more to that point, it really needs a tune. There is a lot to like about the GSXR 750, but one thing that can be a little bit annoying is, well, I gotta just come out and say it, the throttle. The throttle response of this bike. At mid-throttle, this bike does have a flat spot, and it's my understanding that a tune will pretty much cure that problem. But stock bikes don't have tunes. And it's not like it's a glaring issue. But an issue nonetheless. So I'm going to try to illustrate that while riding the bike, which is going to be kind of weird because it's not like you can feel what I'm feeling on this bike, but okay, so not even in top gear, 5th gear, cruising along here at, what is that, about 6,000 RPM. This motorcycle at, say, 3/4 throttle, although it picks up speed seemingly pretty quickly, and it is snappy. Definitely is snappy. It does have a bit of a flat spot there. And where that can be a little bit annoying is, well, I'll put it to you this way. Because the bike is so quick and snappy on initial turn-in, it might make you think you've got a little bit more meat than the bike actually does. And I think a lot of that has to do with that electronic throttle tuning, where yes, your wrist may be giving 50%, 70% input. In reality, that electronic throttle valve may be offering it far less, and not in a very progressive manner. So, very good, but not quite as responsive and quite as intuitive as I think a lot of folks may prefer. Now, this would really only be very prevalent if you're coming from a tuned bike. One that may be older school too, without the nannies. Certainly doesn't dampen the fun. But that would be the one, I guess, the first main complaint. I would say that if you are planning on getting one of these bikes and you are not going to put a full exhaust on it and you are not going to put a tune, I would highly suggest getting some kind of a quick throttle on this bike. Mainly because it'll sharpen that throttle response just a little bit. And again, it's not that initial hit, it's the way that it carries power through the sweep of the throttle, where it has that kind of a flat spot. Now, I will say this about that flat spot: you can kind of remedy that away with a bit of a downshift. Trail, drop, meet this throttle, hit the apex, go wide open, shutter down, brake, quick downshift, trail, drop her in, and stop sign. I so do enjoy riding this bike. Commercial traffic today. What other gripe did I have? I can't remember much of any other gripe. Yeah, that right there. Could stand to have a little bit more refined tuning of the throttle in that area, and it would do nothing to hurt the bike at all in terms of the way that it would, you're not going to upset it through the mid-corner or anything like that. Just having that little bit extra throttle response would be nice. But other than that, guys, I can't really say I have any real complaints about this bike. Great to ride, it's comfortable. Kind of a warm day today, and the suspension feels nice. Even getting the bike over on the side of the tire, I never feel like, and keep in mind it's still at the stock settings, I never get the impression that this bike is out of its element for street use. Now, I wouldn't say that I would leave it stock for dedicated track use, but you would also be running different tires, and there's just a different setup that you're going to have for a bike on track. For the street, God, this is really hard to beat. And how it responds just in terms of setting up on the side of the tire and what it feels like on partial throttle, this is a good indicator right here. When you get the bike, this bike is so stable mid-corner. You never get the impression that it's hunting or pogoing or anything like that. And I'm about 200 pounds. And God, this thing just keeps rocking. There's no vagueness or strangeness to the way the bike feels mid-corner. A lot of guys always use that confidence-inspiring moniker, but it really does hold true with this bike. See, right there. What you couldn't see is I'm actually this is how those electronic throttle blades are staying kind of partially open, where I can actually actuate the throttle a little bit, and there's no real difference in how the bike revs. So a tune would absolutely take care of that. No doubt about it. But it is a pretty day. It would seem like a sin not to be on a bike, at least for just a little bit of time. But outside of the throttle thing, which I think I'm pretty well worn out by this point in the video, know that there's anything else that I would do to this bike. Maybe a little bit better tires at some point. But these BT016s are not bad. Have not had them act weird on me. I've got some concern about the stock tires and how their longevity really is going to play out. But realistically, I mean, they are stock tires, and most guys end up changing rubber out at some point fairly early. I'm not even saying these are bad tires. Like I say, I haven't had any real issues with them. But a set of S23s, I mean, come on. Probably will end up in this motorcycle's future. But that's it. That kind of sums up my gripes about the bike, guys. Not a lot to complain about. So far, this has been an amazing bike. It's a great reconnection with this machine, and it's everything that I was hoping it would be, guys. So far, no mods other than the blinkers and the tail tidy. Got its first oil flush. Just getting her through break-in, waiting on an exhaust to show up. So there you go, guys. Post up your comments. Let me know what you're up to with your bike, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.